Good afternoon, guys. This is Laura. Well, let me check some post from Bloomberg Business. Yes. Putin critic Alexei Navalny detained on return to Russia. Russian policy detained opposition leader Alexei Navalny as he arrived in Moscow after being treated in Germany for poisoning, drawing immediate condemnation from the US and Europe. Navalny, an outspoken critic of President Vladimir Putin, has been recovering from a nerve agent attack in August that he and the Western government blamed on the Russian leader. His imprisonment days before U.S. President-elect Biden takes office could trigger an immediate clash with the new administration. "This is my home," the 44-year-old told reporters before he landed in Moscow. "I'm not scared of anything." All right. Wall Street's wealthy are trading New York for Florida. Lockdowns showed many wealthy finance workers they didn't need to be in the main office. Now they are migrating south in search of sunshine and low taxes. Florida is braced for a gold-plated makeover as a series of prominent financial companies, including Goldman Sachs, consider moving business to the Miami area. Some have already announced plans to open offices. Others are even considering relocating outright. The Sunshine State has been trying to diversify its economy for generations with mixed success. Could COVID-19 be the catalyst for a shift? Netflix knows that. What is this? I'm not sure. What is this? Netflix knows that. OLDE. How can I read it? World Britain is box office escapism in the US. The latest escapist drama to capture our attention. Bridgerton, a sleek and sexy Netflix series set in Georgian England in 1813. Martin Ivans writes in Bloomberg opinion. At a time when Europe and the US feel like distant cousins, Bridgerton is a glorious example of a British heritage and American irrelevance, fruitfully colliding to make riveting TV. Not only would the sex make Miss Austen blush, but here the women take charge and manipulate the man, blah, 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 right? The toxic positivity is making you miserable. Toxic positivity is making you miserable. Successful people, optimists, take note. It is possible for positivity to go bad. Call it FOMO or fear of a negative outlook, an overbearing cheerfulness no matter how bad things are, a pep that denies emotional oxygen to anything but a wide grin. Is a positivity but toxic, and it can result in depression and burnout. You see it on Instagram. You might recognize it in a boss who insists on starting every Zoom with a round robin of good news. You could even spot it in yourself. Is this you? Blah, blah, blah. Paris, Champs, I don't know how to read it. The Champs-Élysées has an international reputation as the world's most beautiful avenue. Parisians, however, are less enchanted. Despite its grand building and the dramatic vistas, the strip that links the Place de la Concorde to the Arc de Triomphe has been widely criticized in France for being polluted, congested, pricey, and thanks to a saturation of global brands and heavy tourism, even passé. I'm not sure. This week, the city's mayor gave the green light to the makeover of the iconic boulevard and the surrounding areas with fewer cars, white sidewalks, gardens, and trees. What investors should know before buying penny stocks. Shares selling for less than $1 sound like an alluring investment. However, financial advisors warn that while so-called penny stocks have been performed well lately, they come with some serious risks. Most of them trade on marketplaces with less stringent financial disclosure requirements. You could also be exposed to pump and dump schemes. All right. I like to check more, but okay. What else? If China builds, will they come? This is why China is turning an area literally in the middle of nowhere into the world's largest dry port. We tried out the $1,495 Peloton of boxing. The developers behind the Light Boxer set out to create a sparring workout you can experience at home. Does it deliver? The 6-foot-tall gadget has an interactive display and a subscription service with expert-led sessions. You can also compete against friends and even sync punching combinations to your favorite music. Is it like being in the ring? No, says our boxing mad reporters. Is it fun? Well, yes. Okay. It could be fun. The hot alternative investments to watch in 2021. Art, wine, jewelry, and classic cars. Those are the usual bets when wealthy investors want to diversify their portfolios. But there are other unorthodox moves you could consider this year. And you don't even need to be super rich to spend on them. Some hints: they involve whiskey, music, and your backyard. What is that? The radical architecture of tomorrow already exists. Ooh. The picture above shows Copenhagen in Copenhagen, designed by Starchtech Bjarke Ingels. How can I read it? It's a massive incinerator designed to generate energy from an annual 485,000 tons of household waste, but it's also, wait for it, a ski slope with a cafe, climbing wall, hiking trail, and a small forested area. Wow. It is just one of the extraordinary creations depicted in Beatrix Galilee's new book, Radical Architecture of the Future, which argues that the world's best designers are already delivering a template for what the world could and should look like. Galilee highlights examples from around the world, including Taiwan, South Africa, Italy, and Mexico. Blah, blah, blah. What is the best way to remember a pandemic? In normal times, future historians really wouldn't care about what you had for breakfast or so on the way to work. But that changed in 2020, and so did the instinct to document. Unlike the Spanish flu, COVID-19 struck humanity in an era of hyper self-awareness. Swaddled with smartphones and user-generated digital media, millions of people were equipped to understand how huge of a deal this was and had tools to record it. Efforts have begun on at least 4 continents to find a way to preserve the memory of a year that many would like to forget. From projects managed by revered institutions to scrappy, intimate archives. Capital realtors included highly trained ex-military and cops. What? The formation that some realtors used while renting the capital would be instantly recognizable to a U.S. soldier or a Marine. It was a chilling sign that many at the vanguard of the mob that stormed the seat of American democracy either had military training or were trained by those who did. Experts in homegrown extremism have warned for years about efforts by far-right groups trying to radicalize and recruit people with this skill set. ISIS and Al-Qaeda would drool over having someone with the training and experience of a U.S. military officer, said Michael German, and former FBI agent and fellow with the Brenner Center for Justice at New York University. These people have training and capabilities that far exceeded what any foreign terrorist group can do. Foreign terrorist groups don't have any members who have badges. Blah, blah, blah. Amazon keeps buying pricey jets after promising a drone fleet. As much as Jeff Bezos wants to move toward drone delivery, the truth is Amazon can't meet its shipping pledges without an ever-expanding fleet of jets. Last week, the company announced it was buying 11 Boeing 767-300 jets for its air cargo division, mostly to get products to Prime subscribers. That same day, Amazon Air flew 153 flights between 40 airports from German to Southern California. The surge in online shopping fueled by the pandemic has strained the resources for the likes of FedEx and the U.S. Postal Service, forcing Amazon to pick up the slack and the resulting costs. With its latest order, Amazon Air's fleet, first launched under a veil of secrecy, will expand to 85 planes. Norway warns of COVID vaccine risks for sick patients over 80. Norway said COVID-19 vaccines may be too risky for the very old and terminally ill, the most cautious statement yet from a European health authority as countries assess the real-world side effects of the first shot to gain approval. Norwegian officials said 23 people had died a short time after receiving their first dose of the vaccine. Of those deaths, 13 have so far been autopsied. I don't know. How can I read it? Autopsied, with the results suggesting that common side effects may have contributed to severe reactions in frail elderly people, according to the Norwegian Medicines Agency. Why many Asian countries are being cautious about vaccines. Asian economies that tamed the virus early are taking a wait-and-see approach before rolling out COVID-19 vaccines. Governments from Japan and Australia to Hong Kong and South Korea are waiting before granting regulatory approval for the shots. In contrast, the US and UK have already administered nearly 14 million jabs after expedited approval last month. It's not a bad thing to sit back a bit and see how others are doing, says Lam Ching-che, a doctor and Hong Kong government advisor. Still, the strategy runs the risk of leaving countries economically disadvantaged against places that botched containment but rushed out vaccination. Trump plans to live in Mar-a-Lago after his presidency, sources say. Outgoing President Donald Trump plans to take up residency at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida and will fly there the morning of Joe Biden's inauguration. Some White House staff are expected to follow him there and work for him or son-in-law Jared Kushner, according to the sources, who asked not to be identified because Trump hasn't made the plan public and might change his mind. He may not get a warm welcome. Some Palm Beach neighbors have previously opposed his move-in plans. Fewer girls, more black brands. Sephora's plan to win back shoppers. 여기까지.